Receiving incoming transmission. Comlink established.
I got your message, Magistrate. And frankly, I don't care what you have to say about Confederate regulations. You damn fringe world yokels are all alike. Don't know where your loyalties lie. Y'all have a real good day now, you hear?
Transmission ended. The report you requested is ready. 16 outland stations have reported sightings of the alien invaders identified as Zerg. The Confederates have arrested all standing militia forces and continue to avoid action against the Zerg. 3 stations have fallen to the Zerg already. We've been unable to locate any source of military relief except the extremist faction known as the Sons of Korhal. Their liaison is holding online.
Good day, Magistrate. My name is Arcturus Mengsk, and I represent the Sons of Korhal. You're familiar with the Confederate propaganda surrounding my group, but your reputation suggests you'll see past it. It's never been our practice to operate in any one place for long, but these Zerg don't look like they're going to wait. I'm going to make you an offer, Magistrate. I'd like to help you out by sending down a number of transports to your colony and evacuating any survivors. You know, of course, that my organization operates outside the bounds of Confederate law. That's why they spread their lies and misinformation. If you decide to accept our help, you'll be branded as an outlaw too. But it's a chance to save those people. Time to make a stand, Magistrate.
Ending transmission. Priority alert. Evacuation zone under attack by Zerg forces. Distress beacon activated at 12:20.
Reporting for duty.
This thing's on fire! You ought to send an SCV out here to repair it. He can fix my bike up too while he's at it.
I think that a certain loudmouth vulture is going to meet a rather sticky end in this mission. Anyway, that's just my opinion, and it's not like I have control over whether he lives or dies or anything. Anyway guys, welcome back to Let's Play Starcraft, and Marines once again telling me how to do my job. And welcome to the first survival mission of the game. We've got a pretty well built up base here. And in fact, this is a mission that's fairly well known for... It's a survival mission, but I think that in most terms this is going to be defense being the best form of offense. Now, so even though I'm limited to sort of Marines, Firebats and Vultures, I can easily have enough firepower here to take on the Zerg base. As you can see, the Zerg come at us in pretty unthreatening numbers at the beginning. I haven't bothered to repair that bunker yet because I want to get my economy rolling, and there's no real threat to that bunker for a while. So the idea for me, you could just wall up behind bunkers and missile turrets and things like that, but I think that's a little bit unambitious. This is going to be probably, aside from some of the real short missions, this is going to be one of the last ones that you're going to see in its entirety. Certainly once the missions start getting longer, once they go past the half-hour mark, I am going to be doing some editing, because while, you know, I would like to show off like opening up early, things like that, I'd like to show like the beginnings of what I'm doing. I really don't think it's I really don't think that you guys need to see me do this constant first time build up etc all the time. I think it'll just get a little bit boring. So, and this can happen sometimes with strategy games. It's like an opening's an opening, and so therefore you don't really need to see too much after that. I'm moving my command center to get a little bit closer to the minerals. My SCVs are being a pain in the backside here, but I'm just going to land a little bit closer to the minerals and the Vespene gas. And this is something that I just love about the Terrans. I think that it's absolutely amazing that they can lift off their buildings, etc. And obviously we now get the swarm of SCVs adding stuff. Oh, did a bit of queuing there, shouldn't have done that, because it means I can't build a marine yet. It also means I can't build a refinery. Yeah, I properly screwed that up. So, anyway, let's get the SCV over here and sort things out. Vultures have the spider mines, which you've already seen Rayna use in the first mission. But you have to research them at a factory machine shop in order to use them. I keep falling for that. I keep doing that stupid mistake where, because you're queuing something up, you don't spend the cost of anything. If you're building a building, you don't spend the cost of it until you actually lay the foundation down. So therefore you can tell an SCV to build something and then build something, say, at a barracks or something like that, and you'll then for no longer have the resources to use it. So that's one of the reasons why queuing up's really not a good idea. Obviously efficiency is another, but as I said, I was never a PvP player for Starcraft, so I am certainly not going to be anything like as smooth as I probably should be. And we're going to start mining Vespene gas now. I'm not going to need too much Vespene gas anyway. I'm going to put 3 in the refinery just because. But I think that, you know, I'm not going to need that amount of Vespene gas really, because the only thing I'm going to build with Vespene gas is going to be fire bats, I think. So, and any sort of tech research that I need. So I'm certainly not going to be at the same level that I am for wanting minerals, because I'm mainly going to be pumping out marines. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to build constantly out of 2 racks for this entire level. And once I've done that for the 10 minutes or so that it will take on the stop clock, I should have a big enough force to just go out and crush the Zerg forces. In fact, in Starcraft 2 there's pretty much a mirror of this mission, and because obviously the game engine's more advanced, etc., they have a huge amount of spawning at that point. They can make stuff spawn that isn't on the map. In this map it doesn't happen. The attack is basically, you know, the Zerg just build up normally on their base, and then there's just a command at the end of it to go, you know, there's a command at the end of it to just go and throw everything you have at the opponent. So there's nothing that gets sort of artificially inserted into the level. So if you go and smack the down the Zerg, then there is absolutely nothing they can do about it. And here you can see this is where just building out of 2 racks. But as I said, my macro is not going to be up to much, I don't think. It's been a while since I played the game, and it's also a lot more difficult to macro in StarCraft 1 than it is in StarCraft 2, or to be honest, in any sort of modern strategy game, because things aren't as limited now as they were back then. Let's just repair up here. So we've got our first introduction to Arcturus Mengsk. He is the leader of the Sons of Korhal, seen as a terrorist group by the Confederacy. The reason the Sons of Korhal have come into being is because Korhal once rebelled against the Confederacy, and in response the Confederacy basically nuked Korhal lifeless. It pretty much just turned it into a desert using nuclear missiles. Obviously wasn't a very good PR move for the Confederacy, but it was just an overwhelming show of force. Arcturus Mengsk happened to be off-world at that point, so therefore he survived, and any of those who did survive went on to form the Sons of Korhal.
Not enough minerals.
Now, one thing that you can see with macroing, or when you can actually tell you're macroing okay, is when your money's low. You can see my mineral money's low, so I'm okay with that, and I'm not queuing anything up while doing it, so I'm actually quite happy with how I'm doing that. But you know, once you start getting into a situation where you're in combat all the time, or you're building out of multiple things constantly, then that's where you start to see your money climbing. And you'll definitely see me have thousands of minerals at some point. Certainly when I'm multi-basing. If I am on, if I'm on sort of 3 bases or something like that, my money will just go sky high because it'll reach the point where I can't really control it properly. The only race I've been slightly able to do that with has been the Zerg, because they are a little bit easier, because they naturally build stuff out of multiple things at once, because you have to turn drones into your, sorry, not drones, turn larvae into your ability. So you only have to click on one building, select all things and morph them all at once, and so it becomes a little bit easier to macro than having to click on every individual barracks or assign every individual barracks to a number group. As you can see, I'm actually clicking on the barracks at the moment. What most people are doing would bind it to a group key and go like 9M, 0M or something like that, and that would be your macro to build one marine. Not really macro, but your key bind to build one marine. So you're not going to see any massive APM out of me, but I think that I think it should be fun going through this anyway. I remember when I first played this mission, I did just turtle up in the base, and I didn't build out multiple racks because the idea just never really occurred to me to have like multiple barracks to build stuff out of. I don't understand. I don't really know why, but that sort of thing never really occurred to me, and obviously I paid for it by not being tremendously good and actually almost getting overwhelmed on a couple of occasions. So the one thing you will find is the Marine is going to be a useful unit for a long time for you. Even right up to the very last mission. Have I got a Mutalist in the base? Yeah. And of course my Marines are all having a nap over here. And because you're limited to only 12 Marines in a control group, you can't just do the whole box and 1A thing. You have to have multiple different control groups. Because these were in the days when men were men and control groups were small. You can see me getting lazy here because I'm actually queuing up out of the barracks. I think that's really lazy and I shouldn't be doing that. But it's not going to have any sort of really deleterious effect on what I'm doing, but it's definitely something I should be avoiding. The engineering bay allows us to upgrade. With Marines, that actually gives you a big percentage increase in firepower. Marines do 6 damage per shot normally. They gain 1 for every additional tech point you have, up to a maximum of 3. So you can actually go from 6 to 9 damage on a Marine, and the armor also decreases the amount of damage they take by 1 as well. So again, you end up, the improvements do make a really big difference. Generally, you're not going to see, you're generally going to see in the campaign, you're going to see me like go 3-3. Just upgrade everything to level 3. Obviously, when you were playing PvP, you never really had the time to do that, but, or at least from what I've seen of it, you don't have the time to do that. But against the AI, you've got the time to upgrade to 3-3 and just have like super Marines. Still, we've got our control groups now, so I'm going to start putting them into correct groups. I think I've got a total of, it looks like something like 30 Marines, 6 Firebats, somewhere around that area. So I've got 3 control groups full of infantry units, and this is, again, I'm being lazy here, but this is me basically going, I'm probably not going to get to macro properly once I'm started this attack, so I'm just like building stuff up, so never mind. This attack's actually going to help me because the Zerg are throwing their stuff against a brick wall here. And it's just more units I'm not going to have to take out. The bunker has gone into red health and you can see it ticking down. Terran buildings, unlike the other races' buildings, Terran buildings will burn down once they get into red. So they sort of pay for the ability to repair their buildings by having their buildings burned down once they get into a certain level. Zerg buildings constantly regenerate themselves, and Protoss are sort of a halfway house. Everything they have has shields which regenerate, but their armor doesn't actually regenerate. So I'm going to move out now. 36 infantry units should be more than enough to cover what the Zerg have here. They really don't have too much on this map. If all of these sunken colonies, etc. Sorry, if all these not spore colonies, jeez. If all these creep colonies were sunken colonies, then I might have a little bit of a worry, because sunken colonies can two-shot Marines. If Marines are unarmoured, I think sunken colonies can one-shot them. But my Marines do have armour, I think, at this point, so therefore they can't get one shot by the sunken colony. But, you know, it'll lead them near as makes no difference dead.
Your forces are under attack.
Doing my best to try and build back up here, and this is where pathfinding goes wrong. I think one of my Marines is going to get himself extra specially killed. Yep. Still, I guess that's just natural selection in order. That's a sunken colony, and you can see the spike coming up and going through one of my Marines. But as I said, because my guys are armoured, it takes 2 shots, and therefore twice as long to attack my guys. So therefore, Marines can... a swarm of Marines will take on a sunken colony quite easily. Zerglings really are not a threat to this level of... you know, you need a big army of Zerglings to be a threat to this amount of Marines. And of course I went the wrong way earlier, so I am going to end up coming back this way. That's the fire bat attack. And really I'm not controlling this as well as I should do. What I should be doing is getting the fire bats in there first. I think fire bats have a bit more health than Marines do as well, and obviously because Marines are ranged, you really want the fire... I mean, the fire bats aren't exactly tanky, but you do want the fire bats up where they can do damage and taking a little bit of damage for your Marines. And yay, supply blocked, money's getting high, all that good stuff. There's no further upgrades for me to do. The only thing you can do is 1-1 on this mission, and the flamethrower on a firebat doesn't half do damage. You know, it's a pretty big can that it opens. It looks like we've found the main Zerg base here. I want to do this for the whole point. It's like the Sons of Korhal coming in to rescue you from the tremendous danger you're in by everything you've just killed on the map. Overlords are basically the Zerg supply depot, except they're obviously more maneuverable and do a few more interesting things. Again, if that was a sunken colony, it would be a bit of a pain in the backside because it would be on a ramp. And yeah, there you go, just queue some stuff up. And normally what happens, you can see all these units that are around. These units have probably been around since the start of the level. And what would happen at the end of the level is they would just literally all unburrow and head towards my base. But at this point they're fighting a defensive action, which isn't going to help. And there's a sunken colony, going to go down again. And this is, I believe this is the main Zerg base, so this is just, once we take this out, they lose the ability to create any more units. I've gone in a bit too close here, the sunken colony is going to get hold of everything. So I am actually, I'm actually sending everything at that sunken colony, because otherwise it's going to cause way too much damage. I think that might be a bit of a panic move. The sunken colony is still going to be a bit slow to take things out. But overall, I think that it's not going to matter in the end for the most part. Once we take out this hatchery, the Zerg don't have the ability to produce any more creatures. So, and now they're all, look at all these Zerglings, all of them. It's like Pretty big massacre going on there. Now, Zerglings aren't really getting the... Zerglings are one of the most threatening units, to tell you the truth. But usually when they're upgraded with speed. Thanks very much, Advisor. I don't think that we're going to be too worried for the moment. I love how the Marines just keep shooting these eggs. These eggs have ridiculously high armor, so therefore they take 1 from every Marine shot. You can see the Zergs burrowing and unburrowing there. That's one of the Zergs' sort of cool abilities. A lot of their ground units can burrow, which means they can just hide underground where you can't see them. Except with a detector sweep, like a sensor scan or something like that. And you can see I'm building a nice backup army here. I do have a habit, especially when playing strategy games, of watching the action a bit too much. It's like if you're really paying attention, you should just be constantly macroing rather than paying attention to the shiny on the screen. Unless you really have to micro your units hard, which under these circumstances I really don't. But as you can see, that's pretty much the entirety of the Zerg presence on the map leveled. So, and we've got 8 minutes to wait. So, what I'm going to do is just do a quick jump cut and see if there's any more action to be had. Oh wait, I forgot. This is Starcraft, isn't it? That means that you have monstrous armies fighting each other. Well, check out the mini-map, fellas. I say fellas, but you girls can check it out as well, assuming there are any who watch this, which I'm pretty sure is not many. Check out that mini-map. Zerg swarm my ass. Marine swarm is what you want. 1 sunken colony against 72 Marines and firebats. I wonder who's going to win this one. But there is another Zerg base up here. And this is what happens when you actually keep building while you're attacking. I'm just going to research spider mines for the hell of it. 5 minutes until dropship arrival. Well, I hope that you bought a lot of them. Because I have literally some Marines that are going to need carrying. I was wondering where the Hydralist den was. It turns out it's up here. It's party time, boys. Now, unlike the Marine Corps that we have, which is a, certainly in Britain, which is a highly trained professional unit, in StarCraft they're basically convicts who've been neurally readjusted. So, you know, they're not exactly creme de la creme, but they are aggressive. I think they certainly are. How can Overlords run away from me? They're the slowest unit in the entire game.
Research complete.
Yeah, might as well.
Your forces are under attack.
Oh, a sunken colony, huh? Gonna pick off a few of my Marines because they've done what I've said. If you look at the minimap, you can see my units have spread out in sort of a line. What you want is your units in a concave rather than a line, because that's where they do the most damage. Okay, so it looks like we got everything. So the Zerg swarm has been completely massacred as far as this mission goes. And now we just need the Sons of Korhal to come and rescue us, I suppose. Rescue us. Let's lay some spider mines just so that it makes it look like we've actually tried to defend ourselves. Oh, and it looks like Chief Sergeant Blabbermouth has managed to actually survive this mission. So I guess we'll have to wait for later. To be fair, I'm not really someone who's going to build a lot of vultures in the campaign, so I'll put these spider mines down just in case for some reason I've forgotten how this mission works and it decides to randomly spawn about 200 Zerg. because, you know, my base probably in its current state will not hold off that number of Zerg, so might as well put my spider mines out. And 2 minutes left. Let's recall the let's recall the army that I've got up here. You know, it might be nice to evacuate them from this planet, because the Zerg are, you know, this is an isolated pocket of the Zerg. The Zerg are just swarming all over the planet, so it's definitely necessary that we get out of here, and we are going to be in the debt of the Sons of Korhal, which we hope won't come back to bite us. I mean, it's not like these things ever do, right? So just bring them all in, and you know what? I'm going to fill up them transports properly. Let's have some more Marines.
Yes, sir?
What are you doing not working? Get working. So I can build more Marines before the Sons of Korhal get here. I hope you bought a lot of dropships. That's all I can say. There better be a lot of stuff in, because here comes my army, and they will require
1
feeding.
minute until dropship arrival.
Yeah, I don't think you need to be that concerned about it, Adjutant. I always find it funny how Starcraft still look. You know, it's not. It doesn't look like Starcraft 2 does, or graphically up to date or anything, but it looks absolutely fine. You know, it's 100% functional, and you wonder how much the addition of more graphics is actually taken away from the gameplay. There are some things that in Starcraft 2 I did like, or I do like. It's definitely easier to play than Starcraft 1. But that is going to be it for this mission, guys. The Zerg swarm has been thoroughly destroyed at this area of the map, but and I've got several restless infantry units who are waiting for a pickup, so let's hope this is enough. As you probably noticed, this wasn't actually 30 minutes faster game
Sons
speed.
of Korhal dropships approaching.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Strap yourselves in, boys.
That's all you bought? That's going to be a very tight squeeze. I think we're going to be packed in like sandwiches on that one. Anyway, guys, that's the end of this mission, and did fairly well at it, I think, overall. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.